Sheperd. Jack, there's been TV cops and detectives aplenty. What is it that makes Wickliffe different?
We're finding out. It's been a long journey, going for 3 years. We started off with a pilot that didn't work too brilliantly. And then we did a season of adapting John Burley's books, which are very cerebral, don't lend themselves to television drama easily. And for the past 2 years, we've been commissioning scripts. And it's slowly discovering what it is, you know. I agree. I think, you know, that back in the 70s, I was involved a lot with people like Trevor Griffiths in really good television drama about the society that we lived in. Things have changed quite a lot over the past 20 years, and since it's only cop series and in the main, and hospital series and things like that that are being done, I better do that rather than be out of work.
But he is emerging. I mean, as you say, as time's gone by, there's something emerging about Wickliffe. What are we going to see in the next series, do you think?
I think the most interesting thing is that because of the failure of the pilot, the central schedulers of ITV decreed that there should be no scenes with wife and family. So for 2 years now, he's been operating independently of his family, making occasional worried phone calls to wife and children, which has given him a sort of strange and rather haunted romantic image, which was never intended. But now that the central schedulers have changed their minds, and this year there will be scenes involving his wife and his family.
What's that going to do with the relationship then between Wickliffe and Lane? Because one always gets the feeling that there's a little bit of a frisson there.
I think so. I suppose if I was 10 years younger, they may have developed that line a bit more strongly.
Or if you didn't wear those anoraks the whole time. Because, you know, thank you for saying it, but I think that might be a bit of a move away from the anorak. That would kind of,
the dreaded anorak.
Yeah.
I'll wear swimming trunks and Wellington boots.
Hey, red ones, like in Baywatch. I mean, now that would go down with the central schedulers. Yep. I don't know. I want to go right back now to the days at the Royal Court, which were pivotal for your career, really. Tell us the story about how you actually came to play the part of Mrs. Max Wall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I'd seen Max in the music hall of the 50s and idolised him. And in the 50s, Max had retired somewhat in disgrace to Jersey, and Ian Cuthbertson, the director of this play, Ubu had gone to visit him in Jersey to dig him out of retirement. He'd actually done a tour, I think, with Mott the Hoople as a sort of interval spot in about 64.
That, yes.
So he was ready to come back. And the director then started to ask famous goon-like celebrities if they'd play his wife, because in that particular play, traditionally, it's played by a man, like a pantomime dame. But they couldn't get anyone to do it. I think they asked Spike Milligan, Peter Sellers, people like that. So in the end, they were forced to cast it from within the company. And I suppose they picked the maddest, really, which was me in those days. And that was my first big part in the theatre, wearing a costume designed by David Hockney, which was like a huge black dress with a hoop on it, Victorian boots, and fiberglass tits that stuck out of the costume. Bright pink, you can imagine Hockney's drawing.
Yeah, I can.
With a little electric switch in my hand, so whenever I got sexually excited as Mrs. Hooper, I could press the switch and they'd light up.
Now, see, if you put those on Wickliffe, I think, personally, it could, you know...
I think it's quite a good idea.
Lose the anorak and get those back in.
The secret life, yeah.
Now, writer, director, actor, which do you feel most comfortable with? Which role?
Comfortable?
Yes.
It has to be as an actor, really, because that's what I've done the most. Though I've done a lot of work in studios. Richard Wilson and I think they're the guy who plays, what's his name?
Yeah, One Foot in the Grave, Victor Meldrew.
Ran an acting studio for nearly 10 years in the 70s. And our objective was to try and find out what made good acting and how to act properly. But in the process, I learned a lot about directing and even more about writing. And I think that I believe that, for me anyway, that writing and acting go together extremely well, because acting is a very social activity. You have to get on with people. You have to. You can't retreat into yourself. Each day is a challenge, really, on a social level, and it's very exciting. And writing is intensely private, where you develop things from your imagination. So the two things actually go together very well, like breathing. You know, the introverted writing action, and then the social thing.
I know you've got comic cuts going on at the Lyric Hammersmith right at the moment, but where does jazz fit in to your life? Where did that passion start?
It started in a doctor's waiting room in 1951. I forget what I was seeing the doctor about, and there was a newspaper with a photograph of the Humphrey Lyttelton band in it on the middle spread. I think it was a Daily Mirror, and it had very romantic pictures of jazz musicians in black and white, sweating with that, you know, strained look in their faces. And the headline was something like, "They make it up as they go along." And before I'd heard the music, I was attracted to it. The idea of making things up on the spur of the moment.
Can we hear you do it now, then?
Yeah, sure. Little go at it.
Because I think this might come as a surprise to an awful lot of people, that Jack Shepherd, Inspector Wickliffe, is a jazz babe. And it can just go on.
Yep.
Just improvises on. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Shepherd. Thank you very much. And the sooner you put that into Wickliffe, the better. Thanks, Jack. As the son of a countess, perhaps it's only fitting that my next guest should have played the part of a count no less than 8 times. But having